I have, and this is like a quick aside, but I feel like
Yeah.
I almost called it a 97-1 the other day. I wasn't going to, because, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I don't like to call on the radio shows. I get too nervous. But,
I've wanted to, yeah.
I did almost call in a 97-1, and I almost, like, something along the lines of like, I feel like I have a very unique perspective as someone who roots for Michigan State. And again, this is worth saying, because I'm not a big fan of the way that Michigan fans, Michigan State fans, like, there's a couple things that I hate about both fan bases, right? And they kind of boil down into a couple things. First off, I don't like the arrogance of Michigan fans. I don't like the fact that, like, Michigan's culture as a program is, we are the best, and they haven't shown that they are. Like, right? Like, it's like Texas. Like, we own football, but you don't. Like, that's not the case, right? But my biggest take with Michigan State fans, and this is kind of funny because I'm a barista, and this actually happens to me all the time with people who talk about the game and stuff, and I hate talking to Spartan fans sometimes because of it. But I hate the notion that you got to go to a school in order to root for them, because that is not the case in any other state. The only reason that it is the case in Michigan is because Michigan and Michigan State are both prestigious academic universities. Michigan is a little bit of a higher tier than Michigan is, but they are, again, very different programs for very different reasons. Like, Michigan's big for health. Michigan State's big for vet stuff. So the
Michigan's
academic,
got the engineering.
the academic prestige is there. Whereas if you go to Ohio or Ohio State, nobody gives a shit, because Ohio isn't that great in athletics, and they're not that great in anything else.
Well,
and
Ohio State football is pretty good in athletics.
But Ohio's not. And same thing with Florida. Like, Florida and Florida State, like, nobody gives a shit about Florida State for their med program. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that it's not that competitive there. And again, in any other state, you're not going to see that unless you go to, like, UCLA or USC. Like, there's very few programs where this is the case, and Michigan's one of those states, right?
Yep.
But it bugs me that Michigan State fans have that notion, and it derives from the fact that Michigan is a harder program to get into, and Michigan State fans see Michigan fans. I feel like it's a reactionary thing, right? Like, with Michigan fans, their biggest, like, I guess, attack, or one of their biggest attacks, like, which university is better, is that Michigan requires like a higher GPA, like, it's more prestigious to get into, when that's, like, again, like, a whole different thing. But Michigan State fans, in reaction to that, their thing is like, oh, but half of you guys didn't go to the school. And it's like, yeah, Michigan's going to have less people that went to the school that root for the program, because A, they're a more popular football program, and B, Michigan State has a higher acceptance rate. So, those two things are obviously obvious, but you don't, in order to be a sports fan, that's
Also,
not
like,
a requisite to being a sports fan, is going to the school.
It's also just sports.
Right. Exactly.
Why am I a Lions fan?
Right. Well, exactly. It's irrational. It's not, it doesn't require.
And my dad grew up in Windsor, so the only games that were on TV for him back then were the Michigan games, because he wasn't getting the East Lansing games. So because of that, that's why he was a Michigan fan, and because he was a Michigan fan, that's what I latched onto. We get a lot of that, just like politics, you get a lot of that shit from your parents.
Right.
So it's not that deep. I've never understood that argument or why people
and I don't like
unnecessary.
it. And I work as a barista at Starbucks, right? And I was talking to someone this is the day of the Michigan game, and I was telling a customer how I grew up in Southeast Michigan, so most people there are Michigan fans, and I'm a converted Michigan fan. And so again, like, when you're around that area, like, there's like a cult of Michigan fans. My TV's on. Sorry. There's like, there's like a cult of Michigan fans in Southeast Michigan, and it's weird to me that, I guess I just noticed it, and I talked to a customer about this, and then she made the comment like, oh, but, like, most of them didn't go to the school, and I didn't know what to say, because I just think that's a dumb argument, and it pisses me off. I don't want to be like, you're a dumb or whatever. But you get into those arguments with people like, oh, but you didn't go to school. I was commenting on I was talking about the Michigan State game. It was 2016, the year they lost to Notre Dame big. And I remember talking to a customer at CVS when I worked there, and I mentioned, like, just that from a outside perspective standpoint, I was like, oh, did you catch the Michigan Notre Dame game or whatever? And I was like, oh, they lost, whatever. And she was like, which school did you go to? I'm like, dude, I go to community college. What does it matter? You know what I mean? It's just, that's not relevant. It's not a prerequisite to going to rooting for a school.
It's the weirdest.
That's my hill that I will die on. But
you good? You get that all out of your
system?
I
got that all out.
I feel like we've talked about this at least once every 3 weeks this college football season.
Yeah. Again, you could go on and on about fan bases, I think, specifically with college, just because it's, that's the one thing that's so good about college football, though, right? That it's much more passionate than a lot of other like sports,